Underconsumption is in for 2025, and so as part of de-influencing January, I want to share with you the list of items that I will not be buying in 2025. Although I'm not on a strict no buy or low buy this year, I have a long list of items that I am absolutely forbidding myself from buying this year to allow myself to not only save my money and also spend my money on categories that I truly want to, and not spend it on the frivolous stuff that I might be initially influenced to buy but actually really don't need to bring into my life. The first category of items I will not be buying any of in 2025 are designer items. I'm not a big designer luxury lover anyway. I've only bought a handful of designer items in the past, and every single designer bag, it's pretty much just bags, that I have bought in the past has been pre-loved. So I'm pretty good already at limiting my spending in this area. I've never massively been drawn to designer labels, loud logos, but even more so, I feel like my opinion on designer items and designer brands is changing, whether that's because I'm getting older, my style is changing slightly more. I feel like it's getting slightly more bohemian, and that doesn't really align very well with most designer items. So I feel like my whole opinion and my whole desire to buy luxury has very much squished. Now, there are a couple of designer brands that I do still really love and admire. The first being Celine. I've always had a little bit of a soft spot for Celine. I do actually own 2 Celine bags that I bought pre-loved. And secondly, Chloe, who are very much having a revival this year, and I do love their bohemian aesthetic. It goes in line with my own personal style. So again, if money was no object, sure, I do love a couple of the Chloe pieces, more their ready to wear than their bags. However, this year I've decided to just say no, a hard no to any designer items. I feel like they're never truly worth the price you pay, even if you get them on the secondhand market. And I really feel more and more that my place in fashion, both on YouTube, on my channel, what I share here, and also for my own personal style, is firmly in the mid-range category. I love to discover and hunt out smaller independent brands, female founded, working kind of in much smaller quantities, producing really beautiful, unique designs. And I feel like I found so many brands like that last year, and hopefully will discover a few more this year, that there isn't really any room in my collection for the designer, louder labels. The second category of items on my no-buy list for 2025 is anything made of viscose. And I've mentioned this a couple of times in recent weeks, but I am done with buying viscose. I'm over it. I feel like it just doesn't deserve a place in my wardrobe. I love my natural fibers, and I know viscose is kind of that hybrid. It is slightly man-made, but also made of natural materials, so where does it sit? But either way, I just don't have a place for it in my wardrobe this year. I would much rather spend my money on cotton, on linen, on wool, silk, and even if I have to pay a little bit of a premium for silk, for example, over viscose, I feel like you reap the returns of that and you get what you pay for. And I am consistently disappointed in the viscose items that I buy, and they just don't last within my wardrobe. Now, I do appreciate this is a little bit of a blanket statement. I don't think all viscose is created equally, and I don't think necessarily viscose is an evil material that doesn't, sometimes it's okay. And I have had viscose pieces that have been okay. My Tabata skirts from Suzanne, they are both viscose, and actually when I wash them they do shrink a little bit, but I do manage to stretch them back out, which is usually the case for viscose. But I have had some viscose items, as you'll know if you've seen my mistake purchases video, that have not been able to recoup their natural shape, their original shape, after washing. So just for that purpose alone, and for the fact that I already have a wardrobe full of beautiful clothes, I'm not going to be adding any viscose in 2025. Third category on my list is costume jewelry. Now, this is a category I don't really often buy into. It's one I'm pretty good at resisting because I do love my fine jewelry, my solid gold, and even my gold vermeil. However, there are occasions where I get swept up in the hype of a costume jewelry piece, particularly when it comes to Suzanne jewelry. I've definitely bought a couple of pieces of Suzanne jewelry in the past, knowing that actually they're not really worth the price tag that they're charging for what the materials they're using are. And actually, all of the Suzanne jewelry that I've bought in the past couple of years, I have since decluttered, because as I just said, I prefer my fine jewelry, I prefer my dainty jewelry most of the time, and even when I'm going for more statement jewelry, I would still rather go for a more high quality material. I actually think sterling silver is a great way to go if you don't mind mixing metals, or you don't mind silver, because it is much less expensive than solid gold, but it is just as high quality and it is going to last. So you can get those more statement pieces that are less expensive than if they were in solid gold, but are still going to really last in your collection. So absolutely a no to costume jewelry, especially Suzanne jewelry in 2025. Moving on from that, and a little bit more extreme, and actually the first year I'm going to be doing this, I'm going to be saying no to gold vermeil as well. And I do think gold vermeil can be an excellent alternative if you love gold, if gold is your preference over silver, but you don't have the budget for solid gold. I do think gold vermeil is an excellent addition. I do think it does last relatively well, but I'm in a position in my jewelry collection where I have a lot of beautiful pieces in gold vermeil and in solid gold, and I do reach for my solid gold a lot more than my gold vermeil, just because I know I don't have to baby it. And if I'm going to be buying any jewelry, or if I'm going to be working with any jewelry brands in 2025, I want to be promoting solid gold, because I do think that's the way to go. If you can't afford new solid gold, there is so much on the secondhand market. Have a look on eBay. There's some amazing prices for pure solid gold, vintage pieces, and even just slightly older pieces. It doesn't hold its value amazingly well, so actually, especially if it's an older vintage piece that you might need to polish up, you might need to put a little bit of TLC into, you know, you can do that if it's solid gold. So yeah, if you want to go down the secondhand vintage market, would definitely recommend. And if you do have the budget for the occasional piece of solid gold, I would much rather put my money into that over buying 10 items of gold vermeil, for example. Number 5 on the list is workout clothes. Now, workout clothes is something that I tend to buy just once a year. I often do a little bit of a refresh of my workout clothes on an annual basis, just because they do get a lot of wear, they do get a lot of washing, they are exposed to, you know, quite hot washes and quite brutal environments. If I'm wearing them on dog walks, they're getting mucky, things like that. So I do tend to update my workout wardrobe once a year just by buying a couple of additional pieces and maybe decluttering 1 or 2 pieces that I've had for a few years. But I do feel at the moment where I just recently bought 2 new pairs of Adanola leggings. Adanola is my preference when it comes to workout gear, because I find it just as high quality as the more expensive brands, and actually it is like a third of the price of brands like Lululemon and Sweaty Betty, and I find the fit is really good as well. So I do buy a couple of pairs of Adanola leggings a year normally, but I did recently just buy 2 pairs, and actually the pairs I had from the previous year, I think I had 3 pairs, are still going strong. So I have 5 pairs of leggings now, and I have like a couple of crop tops and workout tops as well. So I feel like I am set for a year, and honestly I don't feel like I'm going to need to do a refresh, and I don't want to be having excess. I don't want to be having so much that I have nowhere to store it, and it's just kind of redundant in my wardrobe, because I feel like 5 pairs of leggings can last me through the week, along with doing washing, and you know, I don't have to have too much, but I also don't have too little. The only exception to this category, I will actually make an exception, and that is swimwear. So swimming is actually the main form of exercise I do, and I do feel like I need to get a couple more swimming costumes for practical swimming purposes rather than like cute holiday bikinis. I've been using the same ones for about the past 5 years, and again, they go through a rigmarole, they go through a lot of chlorine exposure, a lot of washing, so they are looking a little bit worse for wear. So I am going to make that exception on my no buy to allow myself to buy 1 or 2 more pieces of swimwear, because that will actually improve my life and make my life easier. But the workout gear itself, I am good for the rest of the year. Moving back to beauty for category 6, and that is perfume. Perfume's an interesting one because I don't overspend in this category. I usually just have 1 bottle of perfume. I use it all up. It probably takes me about 4 or 5 years normally, and then I will either get another one as a gift or I'll buy myself another bottle. But I'm at a stage where I recently got gifted a bottle of perfume. I also got a bottle in a subscription box, in a beauty box. So I have 3 bottles of perfume now, which is plenty for probably the next 5 years or so, or until it goes bad and starts smelling a little bit funny. And it is difficult because there are a couple of perfumes on my wish list that I would love to own, I would love to try. I've got one that is from Diptyque that I used to own many years ago, Eau Dwell, and I absolutely love that, and in an ideal world I would wear that every day. There's also one that's been on my wish list for years now from Byredo that again I smell in store. I think it was in Liberty a few years ago and I've wanted ever since, but I can't justify the purchase of a perfume which is over £100 when I already have 3 good bottles of perfume that work perfectly fine, that smell really nice, that will get me through the next few years. So as much as I would love to buy those scents one day, I'm gonna force myself to wait until I've used up all of the rest of my perfumes, because the thing is, you only have one body, you only have one day at a time to wear perfume, and if you have more than a couple of bottles, inevitably some are just gonna go bad. I feel like 4 years is when perfume starts to smell a little bit funky in my experience, so I don't want to have more than I can realistically consume and use over the next few years. Moving back to fashion for number 7, and this is bags, luxury bags or leather bags from fashion brands. And I've definitely learned this the hard way. I have bought a few bags from more fashion brands, and what I mean by this is brands that are mostly clothing brands that also produce bags. So brands that I like Cézanne, like Rouge, like Bash, brands that have both clothing and bags and aren't dedicated leather brands. Now, obviously, if you saw my video about the Cézanne Classic Milo and the apparent decline according to me, my opinion on the quality of that bag over the last year or so, it's kind of made me realise that I want to stick to only buying bags from mid-luxury dedicated bag brands. The bags that are my favourite in my collection are all from brands like this, a little bit like my recent edition of my Manu Atelier, a dedicated leather brand. They do shoes, they do bags, they may do belts as well, but basically they don't produce clothing. It's not their bags, and leather goods are their main form of products. So they really know their stuff, they really kind of understand the quality of the materials needed, the production process, whereas I feel like when you're buying a leather bag from a clothing brand, it's more of like a sideline for them, it's more of an afterthought almost, so it's not their main focus, so inevitably the quality can be a little bit hit or miss. So basically what that means is no bags from Cézanne this year, no bags from other clothing brands. I'm going to stick, if I do buy a bag, obviously I'm not buying designer bags because we mentioned that in item number 1, but if I do want to buy a bag for review purposes for my channel or just for my own personal use, there are definitely a few mid-range bag brands that I would love to review this year. Let me know if there's any you would like to see a review of, but I definitely have a few on my list, but I'm going to be sticking to just those brands and not getting tempted by any new releases from Cézanne or other similar brands. Number 8 on the list is jeans, and denim and jeans is something that I notoriously overspend on. I am always seemingly on the hunt for the perfect pair of jeans and never quite finding them. However, last year in 2024, I feel like I finally found my perfect denim brand, and I ended up getting 3 pairs of jeans from them. One I bought new, one they gifted me, which was amazing, and one I found secondhand, and that is Frame Denim. So Frame Denim is my go-to now. They are really expensive, but they are really good jeans. But I have 3 pairs, and I don't feel like I need any more this year. I have a lighter wash pair, I have a brown pair, which are probably my favourite, and then I have a darker wash pair. And I do also have a couple of other pairs of jeans from other brands that I really like. Abercrombie, I still like their denim, not quite as much as Frame, but it still, you know, serves its purpose. I will still wear my Abercrombie jeans. And also Petite Studios, I love their jeans actually. If you are petite and curvy, I find that their jeans, as long as you're not a bigger size than me, because I wear the biggest size, but if you're smaller than me but you're curvy and you're a little bit petite, their jeans are generally really good. But again, I have quite a complete denim collection, and I don't want to be on this persistent hunt for the perfect pair of jeans. I feel like I'm done with that now, and at least for the next year I'm going to be sticking with what I have. Number 9 is a category that I pretty much always put on this list every single year, and I usually end up breaking my rule, and that is occasion wear. I always say to myself at the beginning of the year, I'm not going to buy any occasion wear if I get invited to any events, any galas, any do's, any weddings. I'm just going to pick a dress that I already own and I'm going to wear that. If I really, really don't want to do that, then I can rent something, but I'm not going to buy something new. And you know what happens? You get to about a few weeks out from the event, you realise you don't want to wear any of the dresses that you already have. You want to buy something new, and then you end up buying something new and wearing that and then never wearing it again. And that has happened to me a few times now, and I really want to break that cycle and really be more intentional. I recently just bought a dress, a beautiful black dress from Doen that I would love to wear to an event if I do have any this year, and if that isn't kind of so suitable, because obviously it's black and black can be a little bit funny for certain events, then I have other dresses. I have cream dresses, I have colourful dresses, I have sparkly dresses, so one of those is almost definitely going to be right for whatever event that I'm invited to. I'm not invited to a huge amount of events every year, so it's not like I have constant events to dress for. It's just occasional things that happen through the year, and I feel like I can get through with my current wardrobe fine enough. So if anyone sees me buying an event and occasion wear dress, please stop me, because as I said, it's something that I add to my list every year, and I end up breaking my rule almost every year, and I'm determined this year I will stick to it. We just have a few more items to get through now, and number 10 on the list is manicures. And manicures, I feel like, is something that has been normalized so much over the last few years. I think with the rise of social media, I remember when I was watching YouTube back in 2015, almost no one was getting professional manicures, and the proof of that was that these beauty gurus at the time had these huge collections of nail polishes. I remember watching people like the Anna Edit and Lily Pebbles, and they had like hundreds of Essie polishes because they always did their own nails, and I feel like no one does their own nails nails anymore, but I definitely do. In fact, I rarely have my nails painted, to be honest, because I find it so time consuming and so annoying to do. So on the rare occasions that I do want to do my nails, I won't be going for a professional manicure. I actually think I've only ever had a professional manicure once in my life before, that I can recall. So I definitely won't be doing it. It's not something I spend my money on. It's not something that I can justify in my budget. If I have £50 a month to spend, I would way rather spend that on clothes or travel or food than getting my nails done. But that is just my personal budget, and I think it's totally fine to get manicures. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I just think it depends on your priorities and where you want to cut money from your budget in other categories. And for me, that is an easy no. It's not something I'm interested in, but I just wanted to add it to the list just to make sure I don't, you know, succumb to lifestyle creep, come to influence and start getting manicures all of a sudden. The 11th item on the list is similar. It's a little bit more extreme, and that's nail polish. I don't want to be buying any more nail polish this year. I have probably about 4 or 5 nail polishes that will last me for the year on the occasions I do want to paint my nails. I have not really been painting them recently because, again, I feel like it's a little bit of a waste of time sometimes, and I do feel like when you do your own nails, after like 3 days they chip, and then you think, oh, I'm gonna have to take off this nail polish now, redo them. That's another hour of my life that I won't get back. So I've kind of just accepted the no nail polish life for now. Number 12 is winter footwear, and this is very much just a case of I have enough, I have plenty. I have multiple pairs of winter boots, I have knee-high boots, I have loafers, I have trainers, I have wellies, I have walking boots, so I really don't need any more winter footwear. I say winter because actually I am quite lacking in my summer footwear. I feel like my summer sandals only last for a season or two, and then they are just completely destroyed because I do so much walking in them, especially on holiday. So summer sandals is definitely a category I will need to be buying a pair for this spring, summer when it does get warmer. But winter footwear, I am good. I have my leather boots, I have my patent boots, I have lots of choice, I have suede, I have leather. So yeah, no more winter footwear in 2025, which is easy to say now, but I think when it comes to September, October, November, that's when I'm likely to get tempted. So I'll have to revisit this video, and recommit, I think, then. That is my complete no-buy list for 2025. Beauty and fashion edition, there are definitely other categories that I'm not going to be spending, but as I talk mostly about fashion on this channel, I wanted to make it focused on beauty and fashion specifically. Let me know what is on your no-buy list for 2025. Are there any categories that you are absolutely not letting yourself spend on? Are there any categories that in previous years you've definitely overspent on and you want to reduce that spending? Let me know down below. Let me know if you have any of the similar categories to me as well. Are there any of the things that we're on the same wavelength on? I'd love to know. If you've enjoyed this content and are looking forward to the rest of de-influencing January, do make sure to subscribe. I will also leave some of my recent videos on screen if you're not done watching. I hope you're all doing really well, and I will see you very soon in my next video. Bye!